Now, another issue I noticed surfaced on television last night, and it's something that we've talked about often in the past. It is still not resolved. I don't know what the answer is to this, and that is about making motorcyclists accountable by putting number plates on the front of the bikes. We've talked about it before. There's a new push now, as reported last night from Gordon Lewis, Road Safety Camera Commissioner, and he's on the line. Mr. Lewis, good morning.
Morning, Neil.
Why the new push? Is it still a problem?
Yes, nothing's changed. We've still got the same situation where a large percentage of offending motorcyclists who are speeding can't be identified because motorcyclists or motorcycles have the benefit of not having a front number plate.
Are you seeing some pretty bad cases?
We've seen cases of one motorcyclist travelling at 220 kilometres per hour in a 60 zone who couldn't be identified, and I'm just looking back at the figures over the last 3 financial years prior to the previous one, and there were more than 200, well, they're called hoons technically, travelling 45 kilometres per hour or more over the speed limit.
And what that weren't caught?
No, they weren't caught, not apprehended. There was another 1,000 who are classified as excessive speed incidents. They're travelling between 25 and 44 kilometres per hour over the speed limit, and they weren't detected either. Look, there are two matters of importance, I think, Neil. The first is and nor could the Auditor General back in 2011, I cannot think of any logical reason why it shouldn't be a level playing field with motorcycles treated the same as motor cars.
But don't they argue danger and aerodynamics and all these things, putting a plate
Yeah,
on?
well, look, I really don't think there's any substance to those arguments. I mean, I've been careful to say frontal identification. I've not stipulated that we should have a front number plate or anything that can cut a pedestrian in two. As far as aerodynamics are concerned, I would have thought if some of the riders had lost 35 kilograms, it might help the aerodynamics of the motorcycle.
Yeah.
The other thing, though,
yes.
The other thing is I'm surprised that the Victorian Motorcycle Council, which is a responsible body and I think responsibly administered, doesn't share my concern for the safety of its members. I mean, that's not a good look, is it? In the 3 financial years from 9, 10, 10, 11, 12, more than 50,000 motorcyclists who were detected exceeding the speed limit, in fact 52,000, 20,000 of those near enough couldn't be identified. Now that must encourage speeding, and that must be dangerous for their members.
Well, do you think people, I suppose it's hard to tell this, but are people speeding conscious in the fact that they're harder to catch?
There are a number of photographs which I think you have on your website showing motorcyclists giving the bird to the camera, knowing full well that the mobile cameras can't detect them from the front.
Have you reported this to government?
It was in my last annual report, and
nothing's happened.
Nothing really. I understood then that there was a joint parliamentary committee considering the question of motorcycle safety, and I was told that they all would be revealed when that report was tabled. In fact, it was tabled just prior to Christmas last year, and in 495 pages, there was no mention at all of the absence of frontal number plates.
Well, look, thank you very much for speaking to us. I'll talk to the Victorian Motorcycle Council in a moment too, if you want to hold on and have a listen. Gordon Lewis, Road Safety Camera Commissioner. John Ecott is a spokesman for the Victorian Motorcycle Council. John, good morning.
Good morning, Neil.
Okay, well, I mean, the Commissioner puts a pretty compelling case. Why not?
Neil, let's take another view of this. Fix the cameras. The camera system is currently at fault. If it can't take images of vehicles that are made in accordance with Australian design rules, made to an international safety standard. There's no motorcycles made in Australia. They're all made overseas, and they're all made with the concept of no front number plates.
Why not do both? Change the cameras if you can, and put number plates on bikes. Or number plates in identification. What's he call it? Frontal identification. Yeah.
Okay. The idea of frontal identification has been researched. VicPol, VicRoads. Currently, it's with the Queensland Transport Authorities on behalf of all national road authorities. Over 10 years, nobody's been able to come up with a safe way of doing it, and that includes VicPol and VicRoads.
Well, let's keep... I mean, you'll agree, we've got 52,000 people booked detected speeding, and 20,000 of them can't be booked. You'd agree that's undesirable, wouldn't you?
How about 246,000 cars with front number plates who also weren't identified from the front?
Well, that's no good, but let's not...
Exactly.
That doesn't justify the point on the bikes.
Of course it doesn't, but it puts things in perspective, Neil. Let's stop...
Well, it doesn't. 246,000 out of how many?
20,000 out of how many, Neil?
52,000. It's 20,000 out of 52,000, about 40%.
That 20,000 comprises 0.4% of all identified vehicles.
No, come on.
So let's
John, it's 20,000 out of 52,000 was speeding and 20,000 couldn't be identified. You've quoted the car figures. 246,000 couldn't be identified. Out of how many caught speeding?
Okay, I'll give that. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know. Now, the issue, we don't argue that speeding is not an acceptable standard. There's no question about that. But let's try and be sensible about this. Yesterday, Peninsula Link cameras were commissioned. Millions of dollars worth of new cameras, all facing the front of oncoming vehicles. Not even designed to take camera pictures in accordance with Australian design regulations. We buy bikes that are legal.
What's wrong?
In every part of society, you're going to get one or two, what we like to call the 1%ers, who don't want to play the game.
Yeah, sure.
But let's not tar everyone with the same brush.
Well, let's not. Let's fix it. What's wrong with a transfer, a decal, or some sort of sticker for the number instead of a number plate on the front of the bike?
Well, there's nothing wrong with it, Neil, but nobody can find one that works.
Why won't they work? Why can't you just copy the number plate and paste it on?
Neil, I'm not a technical expert.
Well,
all I know is that for the past 10 or 12 years, Victorian police have tried all sorts of things, including on their own bikes. We've had VicRoads have spent money on all this. Let's not blame all motorcyclists.
No,
for a few people who play silly buggers.
Well, 40%.
Let's be absolute. Now, okay, let's look at
200 who's?
Let's look at the 50,000 that are speeding.
Yeah.
Motorcycling is the fastest increasing mode of transport in the state, in the country.
Yeah.
We have an average of 6% per year increase, and yet the numbers caught speeding or identified as having sped is reducing.
Well, that's
now,
good.
It's the safest way. It's getting safer and safer. And yet we keep getting this silly idea that we are all hoons.
Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that.
Now, there's this underlying implication.
Wow. All right.
And it really doesn't help.
I don't think anybody's saying you're all hoons, but what everybody is saying, or a lot of people are saying, why isn't there a level playing field with cars?
Now, let's disregard this level playing field because there's always disparities in life. Look at trucks towing trailers where they can't identify who's towing the trailer. I mean, there's another disparity. It's not all about motorcyclists being unsafe. We all accept that people speed. Let's look at how we can fix this easily and quickly. Turn the cameras round.
Okay, thank you, John Ecott. Well, I think we'll look at everything, including that. John Ecott from the Victorian Motorcycle Council. A break, anything you like, 96900 693 13 13 32. I think the reason this has come up again is sheer frustration from the Commissioner, Gordon Lewis. He's put it to government. Nothing's happened. And just got these figures through on motorbikes. 5% of registrations on the road are motorbikes, and around 15 to 20% of fatalities are motorbikes, which sends you in a... Well, I'm told they're great fun to ride, but gee, you wouldn't get me on one. However, that's my attitude. Jane Holmes ahead with television. Hidden gems on television. What have you found? What hidden gems? We've found a new one. So have I. Ron, hello.
Oh, hi, Neil. We were in Colombia last year, and they have a fantastic system. If you want to ride a motorbike there, you have to wear a fluoro high-vis vest with your number plate number on the front and on the rear of it.
So they register the rider rather than the bike, do they?
Well, no. If you're riding a registered bike, that bike has a number plate on the rear, but it also has the rider wearing the number plate front and rear so that it's visible for them.
Ron, do you really understand why it's so difficult? I mean, John Ecott said he couldn't really explain it, but why is it so difficult to just get a sticker in the colour, size and shape of and typography of a number plate and stick it on the cowling at the front? What's wrong with that?
Look, I can see some difficulties. It makes their bikes look pretty ugly. But
again,
if you actually put the number plate on the rider, it's really high vis.
Oh yeah,
It also makes the riders visible to the car drivers as well. You don't find those little little guys running up the side of you. It also might get rid of people like the Hells Angels if they have to wear high vis vests over their club colours.
Yeah, they'd love that, wouldn't they, Ron? You can tell them. Thank you very much, Steve. Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Okay.
I use a boat every day on the Yarra for work, and obviously we don't have number plates on our boats.
Yeah.
But we have to have massive decals that have the boat's registration that make it really obvious, and we still have there's mobile speed cameras. I suppose the water police can use radars on us.
Really?
So,
the water police have got speed cameras?
Well, they don't really use them very often, but there's certain areas where there's a 5-knot limit, certain areas where there's a 15-knot limit.
And are they actual speed cameras or radar guns?
They're radar guns, but
hairdryers.
But I don't see why there's any reason why a motorcycle couldn't have a decal in the same way stuck on the front. They've all got mud flaps on the front.
Baffles me.
You could say, why not have a decal or an engraving choose? I bet we know which one they'd choose.
Are you on the Yarra at the moment?
I'm not there right now. I will be this afternoon, though.
All right, Steve. Have a pleasant day. I hope it doesn't snow. Snowing in the Dandenongs. Anybody seen it? What's happening? Where is the snow in the Dandenongs? We've heard about Olinda. All the kids will be out of school throwing snowballs around. Michael. Hello, Michael.
Yeah, hi, Neil. How are you?
Okay.
Neil, I'm a occasional bike rider, when the weather's a bit better. And I was of the belief that the technology wasn't out there, being on toll roads, one being Eastlink. And
you don't charge motorcyclists on toll roads, or do you?
No, you do. I was of the belief being that we couldn't actually have an E-tag or a tag on the bike, but
so,
how would we get a fine or a bill?
Yeah.
And the technology's there. I every time I go on Eastlink or even through the tunnel, we get a bill in the mail.
It's a really good point. So the toll cameras are able to read your number plate.
Exactly.
Well, obviously the speed cameras can read a lot of number plates, because what was it, 52,000 speeding and only 20,000 couldn't be charged. So you got 32,000 have been nabbed. That's very interesting, though, Michael. I'd like to know. We keep hearing this sort of technology argument thrown around. My frustration, I don't know why, is that successions of governments have chosen to ignore it. Are they worried about the motorcycle lobby? Are they worried about the Hells Angels turning up? I don't know. I don't get it. Thanks, Michael. Sandor, hello.
How you going, Neil?
Okay.
I've actually been pinged with rear number plate on my motorbike from a roadside camera.
Yeah, well 32,000 have.
So, and also, like Michael was saying before, when you ride through Eastlink, you actually get you don't have an E-tag, you'll get a bill in the mail. They've detected you.
Yeah, but 20,000 out of 52,000 have been undetectable because of it.
Well, that's, and also with the sticker on the fairing, some bikes just have a headlight. They don't have nothing around the shroud. They don't have a shroud. So some bikes could, some bikes don't. So it's...
Well, what do you think about wearing a fluoro jacket with a registration number across it?
Well, if that has to happen, it has to happen. That's. And also, how about people don't get on their mobile phones in cars?
What the hell's that got to... I agree with you, but what's that got to do with it? I really
Road
get
state, I'm
frustrated by
talking
this
about-
argument I get from every second motorcyclist, which is not we're right, it's, oh, but drivers are wrong too. You get the same stupid argument from
But what
bike
I'm saying,
riders.
yeah, but what I'm saying, Neil, it's, you just said before that so many died in accidents.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of the accidents are from car drivers not paying attention.
Yeah, you're still just as dead.
So, if they could find a solution, I'd be happy.
Okay, thank you. I don't mean to be rude to you, but I do get frustrated. Push bike riders say the same thing. Motorcyclists say the same thing. Even John Ecott, who I respect enormously, said earlier, when I pointed to the problems with motorcycles, his answer was to point to the problems with cars. Well, yes, there are problems with cars, but that doesn't excuse the problems with motorcycles. There just doesn't seem to be a will to fix it anywhere other than Gordon Lewis. The government doesn't seem interested in it, and the motorcyclists certainly aren't interested in it, a lot of them. Steve, hello.
Yeah, g'day, Neil.
Hi.
I'm no fan of speed cameras, but with this problem, I think the solution's staring us in the face, and that's to piggyback the same sort of technology we use for the likes of CityLink and Eastlink, and have a transponder attached to the motorcycle.
Maybe every bike and I don't have every car, but every bike that's made from now should have a little digital chip in it that can be read.
Yeah, and just piggyback that technology onto the cameras, problem solved.
They'd have kittens about that, Steve. They
Yeah, I bet they would.
They would not be happy with that idea. The Big Brother would be quoted, and there'd be all sorts. You could be tracked if you were visiting your girlfriend rather than your wife, and all those sort of things would come out. But is it that serious? Is it serious enough for that? You got 20,000 out of 52,000. 52,000 people identified speeding on bikes. 20,000 of them couldn't be booked because of their number plate situation. And what was it? 200? 200 hoons over a year. 200 in the hoon category escaped, including one doing over 200 kilometres an hour in a 60 zone.